Hello, welcome to another Dark Saviour video log 3, where I talk about episode 2, because the first one came before the pilot. A few things to of note in the second episode, cleaning up the streets. First thing is that it ran longer than the pilot. It's rare that a pilot or a premiere episode will run shorter than the rest of the season episodes. But the thing is, I don't really have specific time frames. I don't write it to fit a certain time slot. I just write what comes into my head, and this one consequently ran 26 minutes or something, and the pilot was 18 minutes. It's all about story and what I feel is relevant and what isn't relevant. Like I said in the pilot video log 2, a couple of things were missed because of footage wasn't captured. I was more vigilant with my capturing in this and in the Metropolis episode 3. It ran longer. Back in the day when I first started on YouTube in 2009, I had to be wary because I only had 10 minutes, so I had to write my scripts for my content then to fit that. And sometimes it ran over. I'd have to put it into 2 parts. Then it got extended to 15 minutes, which, relaxed a lot, but then the time limit was abolished. For me, anyway. I know some people still have time limits, but, if you verify your account, you're in good standing and all that shit, you just generally tend to get the time limits abolished. And I've said this before, it does allow for more creative freedom, which is a plus, but the minus is that it does allow for more creative freedom. I don't have as much. I can put more out there and write more into the stories without worrying about whether it'll fit the time or not, but it means more work. Luckily with this series there's less to do than there is in my Transformers series or even the RCW stuff that I do, because most of what I've got is already there. With the Transformer stuff, I've got to set up the scenes physically. If I want to transform them, I can't just hit Y or triangle. I've got to actually stop, transform them, and back. And it's little stuff like that, and make sure the photos aren't blurred and stuff like that. And even with the RCW, I can record the matches. A match might not go the way I want it to. I might want a clean finish, end up with a disqualification or a count out, and I've got to do the story designer scenes, which apparently aren't in 2K15, so RCW will continue on 2K14. I'm covering a lot of stuff here, and not the Saviour stuff. I'll get to that. So there's still a lot of stuff that needs to go into an RCW event. Fuck off. Fucking Java bastard things again, it happens all. Really should just get rid of it. But so there's that to do, and there's also, glitches and shit like that in the 2K, in the WWE games. But with Saviour, it generally, what I need is there. I have to work around that, so, I've got limitations in place with that, so it allows me to not have to do as much. I need to position them and get, like, Dad and Des in a scene together. But I don't have to write any dialogue into the scene like I do with the wrestling one. I voice that, obviously. And it kind of it makes it easier. It's probably the easiest project I'm doing. And at the minute, it's probably the most fun, because I've done in 4 years of Transformer stuff. And people do want more. It's gone from asking to demand now. I just got a comment the other day that said more, which I like. I like being told to do more stuff. But with this, the longer running time, because I have more stuff to put out there. Burn Unit, he gives me feedback. I'm getting more feedback off other people as well, on YouTube and on the ECUO forums. Burn Unit mentioned the flying, when he flew from the distribution centre to Carmine Lighthouse. there maybe should have been something there, like a monologue or some speech or something, or music. Like I said to Bern, and I said it to Mike as well, I wanted that quiet. I don't know if it's the best decision or the best move to make. Looking back, it doesn't hurt it for me, but maybe some other kind of audio could have been added. The reason I wanted it quiet was because you just had the distribution centre. You had Dad and Des talking previously, and then the distribution centre, and then into the lighthouse. There's more fighting, more dialogue, more noise. I just wanted a bit of peace and quiet, a little bit of tranquility, a bit of easy time and silence before we have to go into battle again. That's what I was aiming for. Although looking back at it, yeah, I can see why. Because it is, I mean, I've got the supersonic ability, but at that point, when I was shooting the initial footage, because I went back and reshot that, the flight from point A to point B, I reshot that. I had the supersonic then, but I didn't have it before, so I kind of like wanted to keep it in continuity. Didn't get the supersonic until after I finished the lighthouse. Didn't equip it anyway, so that was why it was a slow flight. Probably could have just, whoa, I'm going faster, something like that. You know, I've done a whole lot more good for it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just wanted peace and quiet, nice tranquil flight before he jumped into battle again. That's what I did with that. Also, you know, building on the chemistry between Dad and Des, you know, more emotion in this, less back and forth sort of like counterpoints. Like in the pilot you had, don't you dare wave at me, I wasn't gonna, and stuff like that. Yes, you just heard the voices as I said them. And I wanted it to be like, there's one line, well, one little exchange between them, and it's the whole, there are women here, what do they see in these guys? Probably hookers. Yep. I actually wanted, originally, I was going to have Des be like, Dad, but then I thought, no, because they do need to be on the same page at some point, and I wanted to like, make it clear that while they do bicker about some things, they are alike in many ways. So it was kind of like, probably hookers. Yep, you know, they're on the same wavelength. They understand each other. And, you know, whole Dad's attitude might be where Des gets his attitude from, in a sort of weird sort of way. The reason Dad isn't as gobby as Des is probably because Dad's older and wiser now. But yeah, Des is still young, relatively. That's what I was going for with that. Mike also mentioned that the fighting seemed smoother and didn't drag out as much as they did in the pilot, which, you know, there was a lot more fighting. But yeah, I said in the video log after the pilot that I wanted to try and tighten the fighting. So it's a result of that. I've been more careful with it. If you notice the lighthouse, if you play the lighthouse mission, there's a lot more flaws. I didn't skip through, but when I was editing the footage, I cut out a lot of the battles and the flaws. A couple of the levels I cut out of the actual end product because I didn't want it to drag. Distribution center was fine. I even cut out some of the distribution center, but that isn't that long. The lighthouse is a bit longer. And I figured, just cut out a bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter. No, if anyone complains and says, oh, well, that isn't realistic because you didn't do the bit with so-and-so and the razors before you unlock the gate, and it's a game about superheroes. None of it's realistic. But it's just stuff like that that I have to like keep a check on. The lighthouse, the final fight with Bane, I even cut that down because that was going on a bit. Yeah, I didn't cut out that much, but there's like little bits where you'd unlock a feat and it comes up on the bottom of the screen, and even though the UI's turned off, that still comes up. Stuff like that still bugs me. Like when Bane does the thing and the gates come down and it says Bane, or Bane, or Bane, or Bane, wherever it is. It's just stuff like that bugs me, because when you're watching Arrow or The Flash and you're introduced to the villain or a new character, it's not like Felicity, Diggle, Harrison Wells, Cisco. It's not like that, is it? You don't get that when you're introduced to a character. So that annoys me somewhat. And when for some reason you turn the UI off and sometimes you haven't got the names above the heads, but then sometimes you have, that bugs me. It's them minor niggles though, in the grander scheme of things. Most of the UIs are, so I'm happy with that. Talk a little bit about episode 3, which is called Metropolis. It actually introduced a new character called Agent Thomas. He's an FBI agent, and the chemistry between Thomas and Dez will be a lot different. It's hell, it goes two ways. There's the back and forth between Thomas and Mike, and then there's a back and forth between Thomas and Dez, which are both different. Dad stays in Gotham. Dad will feature, but Dad stays in Gotham. He'll be featured via phone calls. And it does build towards other things, and I do have more Agent Thomas stuff planned in future episodes. But it's just, gradually building. I would say Team Saviour, but I wouldn't really call Agent Thomas a part of Team Saviour at this point, or even probably not until season 3. But yeah, there's that. I probably will also be using Agent Thomas as the connective tissue between Dark Saviour and Cougar Man, because I was struggling. You remember what I said before, that the whole thing with Cougar Man was going to be the first thing, and then there was going to be like cameos from Deseret and the Justice Realm and all that. And like I said, I switched it around and I wanted to do the Dark Saviour series just because people will get a grasp of what the Justice Realm is about. Otherwise, it's just you see Cougar Man's adventures, then all of a sudden he wants to join the Justice Realm. Who the fuck are they? Why are they a big deal? Want Exabytes or Odyssey or anyone like that? So that's what I wanted to go with. I wanted to establish a Justice Realm and then, work Cougar Man into it. And I've found a way to spin Cougar Man off from Dark Saviour. So that'll be fun to do. Got a lot of work planned for this. A lot. Not just in terms of Dark Saviour, but Cougar Man as well, and how they mesh together. That's pretty much all I've got for this one, I think. Covered the time, I've covered the fighting and the dialogue and stuff like that. I think, 13 minutes wraps it up pretty nicely. I'm hoping to get Metropolis out if I continue the same formula that I do right after this. I probably won't. I'll probably keep with what I'm doing and do the video log before the episode, so video log 3 before episode 2 and stuff. No, it'll be video log 3 before episode 3. Yeah, which deals with episode 2. It's weird. It makes sense to me. Anyway, we're approaching 14 minutes. This will go up before Metropolis goes up, which is the title of the next Dark Saviour episode. We've had Gotham, we've had Smallville. Let's have Metropolis. I shall see you then. Well, you shall see me then.